Good morning. It's the second day of spring. We're in the greenhouse at the Eleanor Cabot Bradley Estate in Canton, Massachusetts. My name is Jeff Thompson. I'm the horticulturist that works at the Bradley Estate and the Ames Estate as well. And today what we're going to be doing is a little demonstration on germinating seeds. It's nice to get fresh seeds and not to try and reuse seeds from years past. So every year you look at the seed catalogs and order new stuff. You're guaranteed to get some pretty good results from what you buy. So basically what we're going to be doing today is using what we call a 72 tray. It's economical in that it has a lot of cells. Most seed packets come in 50 to 100 seeds in a pack. So these make really good starter sets for it. There's enough soil in here to start just about any seed, whether it's a garden seed or a flower that you want to grow. You basically want to take your germination or potting soil mix and you want to moisten it, and you also want to make sure that it's brought up to a temperature that's not really too cold or too hot. So I usually break up the bale of potting soil and wet it down with a hose and then put it on the bench so that it can come up to the temperature of the greenhouse. It's very important not to shock plants, although some plants and seeds will actually need some cold tempering to get them to germinate better. So basically I'll show you how to fill this tray. We're just going to take the soil and we're just going to loosely fill the cells. There's 72 of them, so it does take a little bit of soil here, but if you're using other trays, just do the same and just fill them up just loosely with the soil. Make sure they all have the same volume of soil inside of them. And then usually when I get to this point, I want to make sure that that the cells are filled perfectly, but also that the soil is compressed into the cells. And the reason why I do this is I like to leave a little bit of headroom on the top of the cells so that when you're watering, there's a reservoir to fill with the seeds. And also too, when you water these, the soil is actually going to settle and you won't be having full cells unless you give them a little bit of compression. So to do that, I take the identical tray, these are 72s as well, and after I loosely fill these, I'll put the cell tray over and just compress the soil. You don't have to really push down too hard, and if the soil is wet, what will happen is you'll get the cell tray to look something like this, and you can see the level of the soil has been pressed down about 3/8 to half of an inch or so. So now that we have the cell trays all filled up nicely and that there's enough headroom in there to allow watering, it's time to get ready to seed. So the seeds we're going to be putting in today, on the back of the package actually, they say that we need to go about 1/4 inch deep. And again, uniformity is really important when you're doing germination of seeds. So you could take your finger and poke a 1/4 inch hole in each one of these cell trays, but instead I made up this very specific tool that does all 72 trays at once. So I just take this with its little fingers here, and I'll slide it right over the cell tray. And you want to make sure that you're uniform, so we'll just compress a little bit more. So then what you're going to get is in the center of each one of the trays, you're going to have a little indentation where you can drop the seeds into. We don't want to put the seeds on the top and then fill it up with soil again, because what will happen is you'll have too much soil inside the cells. The goal is to try and get one seed in each cell. That way there's no competition, and each plant can develop easily without having to thin them. If you look very closely, they're not a small seed, they're actually kind of a medium-sized seeds. And now I'll just go through and tap lightly on the tool until one seed falls down the chute into each one of these holes. So after doing a number of these trays, you'll have a really good base here now to be able to cover them up lightly and start to germinate them. So I then just take lightly, just very little soil, because they're already at the proper depth, and all I really want to do is fill in the little indentation. So I'll just take very little bits of soil and just go over the seeds. So then I can just take the empty cell tray again and press down and really firm the soil and the plant's seeds all together. You don't want to press too hard. Some seeds can be damaged by over compression. So the tag goes in, and then one of the very most important parts, the end part of all of this, is you want to be able to water these in and get them off to a good start. So you could do it a number of ways. You could soak them in trays, but I like to use a mist system for it. So I'll go and grab the hose, and we'll mist these off real quickly, and then get them on a bench that has some heating underneath it, so that they germinate more rapidly. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this demonstration of seeding. My name is Jeff Thompson. I work for the Trustees of Reservations at the Eleanor Cabot Bradley Estate. And tune in again next time for some more great how-to videos about horticulture.